all plants and animals have consciousness, and when you eat them raw and fresh, you absorb some of their spirit and consciousness into you, and it contributes to your life force. Now, this is fascinating information that was just released from the Monroe Institute. They're doing this awesome series where they are releasing old vintage Robert Monroe tapes of his Explorer series, where his subjects would go in these deep meditative states in hemisync and go into these far-off astral explorations, many times channeling higher intelligences. And in this instance, they're channeling a person, a being, that is very connected to the plant spirits on Earth. And they are telling us all about how the eating of plants and harvesting of plants works. Now, this is so fascinating, okay? Especially if you are into eating plants, right? Or into growing plants, or just like plants in general. So basically what they say is that plants, all types of plants, fruits, vegetables, just plants, trees, everything has consciousness and is a spirit. And that when you acknowledge that, just understanding that, like say you're growing plants, say you have a farm or a garden, right? And you're growing plants, just acknowledging that all those plants can feel their environment, that they can make conscious decisions, that they choose to grow or not to grow, that they, are living, breathing, sentient creatures. Just acknowledging that means that they will choose to grow better. They will provide more nutrients for you. They will just do their jobs better, right? They'll be proud and happy. When you eat them, which is what you're supposed to do, they chose this role and they actually want to be eaten, because when they're eaten by a higher intelligent being, like a human or an animal would be to a plant, it's like a step up in their evolutionary ladder. They get absorbed into the one that's eating them, and it continues their evolution, their journey. So they actually want to be eaten, but they also want to be given respect. So whenever you eat plants or animals, especially raw, you're supposed to thank them, have appreciation, have gratitude, show them respect, and their consciousness will join with yours, and it will contribute to your overall life force. This is super fascinating because we like plants, mainly for their vitamins and minerals and their phytonutrients, right? And all that's super important. But think about this. This got me thinking of what would be the most beneficial plant to eat, because I'm on a low carb diet. So I eat a lot of plants, but I eat a lot of I eat beet greens, I eat kale, cucumbers, I eat olives, avocados, things like that, low carb plants. So I was thinking, okay, what would be the most beneficial plant? Because I don't eat a lot of fruits and stuff because they're too high in sugar. But I appreciate them all. I like them all, and I treat myself. When I want to treat myself, I don't eat a lot of desserts. I'll eat like some watermelon or pineapple, right? That's like my splurge. But so I was like, okay, what would be the most beneficial plant consciousness-wise, all right? Not vitamin, mineral-wise, consciousness-wise. I started thinking about it. Like, man, in my mind, there's something that's way above every other kind of plant that there is. And I don't even know if it's a plant. It's definitely not a fruit or vegetable. It's a mushroom. Mushrooms, to me, there's this mycelium network. It's like the World Wide Web of nature. It runs underneath our ground right now. Like underneath my feet right now is this entangled web of like energetic electrical firing, like neurons, basically. All the plants, all the trees are connected by this mycelium network. When you die, if I were to drop right now, I would be decomposed by mushrooms and fungus, and I would be absorbed into this mycelium network. Now, that made me think, holy cow, eating fresh mushrooms, you're not only getting the vitamins and minerals from them, but you're also getting data. You're getting data from this World Wide Web of nature, because they're connecting. They connect all the plants. They connect to the soil. They connect to the air. They connect to the water. They connect to all the living things that have, been in that area. So they are this like node of knowledge and information and data. And when you eat them, holy cow, you absorb their spirit and their consciousness and their data into you. So in my mind, you always, what this being was saying is that there's about a 2-week limit, and it fades through that 2 weeks. So meaning, say you were to go and harvest some carrots, right? You have about 2 weeks to eat them to be able to absorb any of their consciousness and their spirit. After 2 weeks, it's basically gone. But it fades over that 2 weeks. So on day 1, you're going to have way more of that conscious spirit than you will on day 13 or 14. So the quicker the better. And you don't want to cook them. You want to eat them raw. And you can flash freeze them, but that kind of dulls it a little bit. So the best way is just fresh, local, raw plants and animals. They talk about mainly about fish, but he did mention, beef and pork and other things like that. That it's all the same thing, but it's a lot harder to eat, say, raw beef, you know what I mean, than it is to eat a raw. He actually said his favorite food period is rutabaga, because he used to be a human, and so they're speaking to him while he's in the spirit realm now. He's channeling now from the spirit realm, but he used to be a human when he was on Earth. Rutabaga was the one that he was drawn to. So I thought that was interesting. It's kind of like a turnip or a beet, sort of. It's a root vegetable. But anyways, so I started thinking, okay, like fish, I eat a lot of sardines. Fresh sardines are amazing. So I ate a lot of sardines. But as far as fruits and vegetables and stuff go, I started thinking, I was like, man, I'm going to start eating way more mushrooms. I already eat a lot of mushrooms. I drink mushroom tea every night, and I love mushrooms. But I'm going to start eating more raw, fresh, local mushrooms, because I'm pretty convinced now, the more I thought about it, there's a reason why mushrooms are so beneficial for us. I mean, they have amazing health benefits. I mean, that far exceed any other fruit and vegetable. I mean, listen to Paul Stamets talk about, curing his mom's, end stage breast cancer with just turkey tail and some other mushrooms. I mean, they do amazing things. So, but I'm pretty convinced that by consuming mushrooms, you're also consuming the data that they're plugged into in the mycelium network. And I mean, if you want to go down a cool rabbit hole, research the mycelium network. It really is the world wide web of nature. It's so fascinating. And when you eat those, especially raw and local, you're absorbing, according to this channeling spirit, you're absorbing their consciousness. And with that comes the information, because everything is information. All energy is information. So just a different way to look at food. When you're growing food, by acknowledging that it has consciousness and spirit, it will grow better, and it will grow for you. It will be proud. And so that's awesome. And you want to just acknowledge it and respect it. And then when you go to eat it, harvest it and eat it quickly and eat it raw, and you'll get the most benefit from it. Shop at your local farmers markets. Support your local growers. All that stuff is extremely important. So anyways, it's just I thought a super fascinating release from the Monroe Institute about the consciousness of plants and animals and the spirit, of plants and animals. I think that's so fascinating. You really do realize that Mother Earth, Gaia, is a living, breathing, conscious entity, and it's growing. It's birthing. She is birthing all of these plants. All of these plants and animals are birthed from her. So they're her children, and they're all conscious. Of course they are. They're children. And when you eat them, they want to be eaten. It's their journey. It's their job. But they also want to be shown respect. So eat them local, eat them raw, eat them fresh, eat them with respect and gratitude, and they'll be happier. You'll be happier. Gaia will be happier. Everybody will be healthier and happier. Let me know what do you guys think about all this. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
Hi my friends, how do you take that? Is the sugarcane look
One
happy?
of the reasons why you can't access your past lives yet, or your future, or your galactic selves yet, is because your psyche, your emotional body is not ready yet to hold a lot of these memories, because it will feel like you are going crazy and you wouldn't want to go out of your house, because everything, you will be triggered. Your senses will be triggered. The energies that are here, it's very triggering. And it's almost like your soul is still trying to develop. It is like going to the gym. You're building that energetic muscle until you can hold a lot of these memories, a lot of these energies within your body. You are here to transmute and fix a lot of these genetic distortions. DNA is one of the things that they have been fighting for a very long time. The more that I remember my galactic self, the more that I remember my past lives, future lives, it feels very foreign to be on Earth. I go to Target, I go get my groceries, just observe people, and everybody else is asleep. Like, they're doing the same routines day in and day out. Go to work, go to Target, go home, go to sleep, go to work, go to Target, go home, go to sleep. That is their everyday life. And a lot of them are just backgrounds in the main story. But if you're awake and you're here and you know and understand what is going on, you're most likely one of the fleet members. I remember when I was on our fleet, we had a lot of, like, most of my mentors had been the commanders of these ships. And a lot of us came back here for this very mission. You must have had a significant role in your future life that you came back here and that you remember. Not everybody wakes up, not everybody remembers who they are. But if you are awake and you remember, you have a very, very important role. Because what happens here now, from this point on, 2024 was a very pivotal year in future timelines. Your body is holding a lot of these DNA that needs to be fixed. That's why a lot of us had been sick in a point in our lives. And you can heal your body, for sure, 100%. I know that because I have done it for myself. And we are fixing a lot of these genetic anomalies. It's a lot. It's a lot for our bodies to handle it, and feels dense, very dense. Especially when you start remembering what it feels like to be much, much lighter. 5D feels like Christmas. Every day you are a part of everything. You are that unconditional love, you know, that type of frequency. But it feels heavy the more that I separate from 3D, the more that we split.
Different humans have different views.
And they don't actually understand Jesus.
Mm.
Because there have been many misinterpretations and misrepresentations and misunderstandings about what Jesus actually said and what he was all about. Because a lot of the dialogue that came from him and others around him have been altered for the purposes of political power and certain kinds of gain. And therefore, you don't really have an absolutely thoroughly accurate representation of what was really said at the time. Plus, in not understanding Jesus in the full capacity of his expression, then many people who purport to understand him or purport to believe in him actually have no understanding of the fact that he was presenting both a male and a female aspect in the Mary of the Magdalene. This is a couple. This is a male and female representation in balance, and many of the things that were actually talked about are extremely metaphysical and not exactly what the idea of the Christian belief system purports to be true.
Mm. Got it. So more, this is hard for me to ask, but more, okay, so more like how you've said the Magdalena things and more of the Essenian stuff and the Rosicrucian stuff is a little more coordinated.
Even there are misinterpretations in those. It is more the pure idea of the understanding of the balance between male and female in the expression of Yeshua and Maria, or Miriam the Magdalene.
So more just the simplicity of harmony between the sexes.
Yes.
Okay.
And the idea of the understanding of both sides' connection in balance to all that is, and the expressions thereof, many of which are very familiar now to those who have listened to metaphysical concepts in your modern age.
Wow. That sounds interesting, man. When you think you are well protected. Oh my god. And the dog is the one that is extremely...
Bro, dude, what?
Oh man.
Your body is not made up of 70% water. They lied to you again. Your body is actually made up of 99% structured water molecules called H3O2. It is not regular water, it's H3O2. This is more of a gel than it is water. It's not H2O. And the only food we can consume that has H3O2 is fruit. Fruit is over 80% water, so it's basically flavored water. This is exactly why fruit is the most hydrating thing you can consume. And breast milk is the only thing that has everything fruit water has.